It is a special moment to be able to see really deep into the brain at a really nice resolution that perhaps no one has achieved before. It's sort of a process of discovery. You are entering into a new area of biology, or at least in vivo biology, where you can see what's going on in a space that maybe no one has quite reached yet. So it's kind of a process of discovering a new place. My main goal here in Berlin is to develop new instruments to allow neuroscientists who are a part of this lab to study effects or neurons that are really deep in the brain. The instruments we're developing are, in, I guess, one word, a microscope, but they don't look like a normal microscope. They're spread out on these optical tables, and they have a lot of components. And they actually have small moving parts that allow us to correct for the scattering of light in the tissue. And then they're hooked up to computers, and the computers capture data that doesn't look like an image. But then we use a lot of algorithms to take the data and compute a really sharp image. To image deep into tissue, we have to understand how light scatters. And so what we do with our instruments is we measure how light is scattering from very deep within the tissue. And then we use digital and optical tools to correct for that scattering, to sort of sharpen the image in a way that you can now resolve the individual neurons, whereas before they just kind of appeared like a big blur. Part of the goal of designing these microscopes is to allow us to capture light and form really sharp images. But at the same time, we can try and focus light into the tissue. And that's useful because of a new field, relatively new field, called optogenetics. Optogenetics is essentially a way to manipulate cells using light. So we can focus light onto cells and cause cells to do something. So in the case of neurons, we can cause the neurons to fire and talk to other neurons just by shining light onto them. So you project light to one neuron and then watch how the other ones respond. They'll light up. And so it's this kind of game of project and capture that allows you to see how the neurons are talking to each other. I think the research environment here is amazing for neuroscience. There's a lot of different groups working in this area of just trying to understand how the brain works. At the same time, I think in Germany as a whole, there's a huge number of people doing optics and microscopes. And so it's really kind of a perfect storm here, I think, between the neuroscientists and the people studying optics to really push this particular field forward. I think the support from the Einstein Foundation is amazing. It's really, first a great honor to have received it, but it's also really nice in terms of the flexibility. It kind of allows me to do the research that I want to do. And that's really important, I think, being able to really design the research experience you want.